The central conflict of our modern working lives really boils down to this. We're facing an absolute epidemic of constant draining distraction, and it's completely wiping out the lost art of intense, productive focus. We're rapidly forgetting the value of going deep, and you know what? It's costing us our full potential.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 6 main parts. First, the deep work hypothesis. Second, why depth is valuable. Third, Rule 1, work deeply. Fourth, Rule 2, embrace boredom. Fifth, drain the shallows. And finally, a deep, good life.
Kicking things off with part 1, the deep work hypothesis. Because before we can master the rules, we really need to understand the fundamental core theory underlying this whole concept. So, what exactly are we talking about here? Well, deep work consists of professional activities performed in a state of completely distraction-free concentration. Stuff that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their absolute limit. These are the efforts that create new value, improve your skills, and frankly, are really hard to replicate. A perfect historical example of this? The psychiatrist Carl Jung. Back in 1922, to outwit his mentor Sigmund Freud, Jung didn't just hang out in a busy city office. No, he literally built a 2-story stone retreat out in the woods of Bollinger to lock himself away and tap into this intense, distraction-free focus.
Now, on the total flip side of that, we have shallow work. These are your non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style tasks, the kind of stuff you usually do while you're half distracted anyway. This work doesn't really create much new value, and it's incredibly easy to replicate. And here is the terrifying reality. A McKinsey study actually found that the average modern knowledge worker spends over 60% of their week trapped in electronic communication and internet searching, basically just spinning their wheels.
Looking at them side by side really puts it into perspective. Deep work creates unique value, whereas shallow work, well, it just keeps you busy. Take Jason Ben, for example. He was a financial consultant who was completely trapped doing shallow work. We're talking manually copying data into spreadsheets, spending like 98% of his day just surfing the web. Eventually, he realized his entire job could be replaced by a basic Excel macro. So what did he do? He locked himself in a room with 0 computers, just textbooks, note cards, and trained himself to focus. By mastering that depth, he taught himself complex computer programming, graduated at the very top of an elite coding bootcamp, and completely transformed himself into a highly paid developer in Silicon Valley, pulling in $100,000 a year. Talk about a game changer.
Moving on to part 2, why depth is valuable. This brings us right into the economic reality of what economists call the Great Restructuring, and why going deep pays off so handsomely.
You see, the new information economy disproportionately rewards 3 very specific groups of people. First, you have high-skilled workers, like data whiz Nate Silver, who can work alongside complex, intelligent machines. Second, superstars, like the ace programmer David Heinemeier Hansson, who can work remotely and just dominate a global talent market. And third, the owners. Think venture capitalists like John Doerr, who have the capital to invest in new tech. Now, to become a high-skilled worker or a superstar, you absolutely have to be able to learn hard things quickly and produce at an elite level. And guess what? Both of those abilities rely entirely on your capacity for deep work.
Okay, let's take a super quick pause right here in the middle of our explainer. If you're finding this breakdown of deep work valuable so far, please take just a second to like this explainer and subscribe to the 10 Minutes Book Summary Definite Books channel. Your support is exactly what allows us to keep bringing you these powerful insights. All right, let's pivot from theory into the actual actionable rules.
Part 3. Rule 1. Work deeply. This is where we get tactical. Because, as you'll see, you can't just rely on good intentions. Our brain's willpower reserves are finite, so we need specific rituals.
And the good news is, there isn't just one single way to schedule deep work. There are actually 4 distinct philosophies you can use. First is the monastic approach, like computer scientist Donald Knuth, who just eliminates all shallow obligations entirely. Then there's the bimodal philosophy, which is what Carl Jung used. That's dividing your time clearly, maybe retreating to a cabin for a few days, then returning to normal life. The rhythmic philosophy turns depth into a simple, daily habit, like the chain method where you write every single morning at 5 a.m. without fail. And finally, the journalistic approach, used by writer Walter Isaacson, where you seamlessly shift into deep work whenever you have a spare moment. The big takeaway for you? Choose the philosophy that best fits your specific career constraints so you can make focus a regular, willpower-free habit.
On to part 4. Rule 2. Embrace boredom.
Here we're tackling the neurological reality that focus isn't just a choice you make in the moment, it's a muscle that you actually have to train. If you really want to train your concentration muscle, here are the actionable steps to do it. Number 1, schedule your internet use, yes, even at home, so your brain actually stops expecting constant novel stimuli every 2 seconds. Number 2, run Roosevelt dashes. These are named after Teddy Roosevelt's intense study habits at Harvard. Basically, you give yourself an artificial, incredibly tight deadline to complete a really hard task. Number 3 is productive meditation. This one is fascinating. You take a period where you're physically busy but mentally free, like maybe walking your dog or commuting, and you focus entirely on solving a single professional problem in your head. And finally, try memory training. Something like memorizing a deck of cards, which, interestingly enough, absolutely skyrockets your general ability to concentrate.
Next up is Part 5, Drain the Shallows. We really need to talk about what to do with everything else. You've got to figure out how to manage those inevitable logistical tasks without letting them completely destroy your capacity for high-value output. To stop the trivial stuff from creeping into every single corner of your life, you need to schedule every minute of your workday. I know it sounds intense, but it prevents you from just running on autopilot. Next, you want to quantify the depth of every activity. Ask yourself, how many months would it take to train a smart, recent college grad to do this task? If the answer is just a few days, then it's shallow work, and you need to minimize it. And this is crucial. Implement a strict evening shutdown. Once you're done with work, shut it down completely. No checking emails after dinner. The science actually shows this downtime is neurologically required to recharge your energy reserves so you can hit that deep work state again the very next day.
Which brings us to Part 6, a deep good life. Let's move beyond just professional success and economics for a second and look at the personal, psychological benefits of a highly focused life.
The ultimate reward here is perfectly captured by the science writer Winifred Gallagher. After a cancer diagnosis forced her to pay attention only to what truly mattered, she wrote, "I'll live the focused life because it's the best kind there is." And, the science of psychology actually backs this up. Spending significant time in a state of deep work literally hijacks your attention apparatus. It physically prevents your brain from fixating on all those trivial, draining anxieties, and instead, it constructs a worldview that is incredibly rich in meaning, satisfaction, and flow.
So, we finally arrive at the ultimate provocation. You know that deep work is becoming increasingly rare at the exact same time it's becoming incredibly valuable? The distracted masses out there are just drowning in shallow emails and endless social media feeds. So the question is, will you build your own Bollinger Tower of elite concentration? Are you going to leave the distracted masses behind to join the focused few? The choice is entirely up to you, but the rewards, they are absolutely limitless.
Thank you so much for watching this explainer on the 10 Minutes Book Summary Definite Books channel. We really hope this deep dive into Cal Newport's work has given you the tools to reclaim your focus. If you found this explainer helpful today, please do give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more high-quality educational content from Definite Books. Until next time,